All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coffee Q&A. Oh my gosh, forget that. That just turned off in the moment before I started broadcasting. How are you guys this morning? Welcome to the Coffee Q&A. This is episode number 236. Can you believe it? 236. It is Wednesday, August 28th. And today I'm brewing up a little bit of this Paul Michel Colombia that was roasted for us by George Howell up in Boston. And I'm doing a quick brew today. We're starting off really quickly because we got some stuff we want to get into today. Today we're having one of the members of our community, Eduardo Valle from Mexico City, is coming to join us to talk about his entry into the 2024 World Brewers Cup championship that they're holding in Mexico. So in all the different championships that are being held, there's like 5 or 6 of them. They will typically have national championships where national competitors will come together and they will battle each other to win the national title. And then each of those champions from each country will be sent by the organization to the world championships in order to represent their nation and hopefully win the entire thing. Keone is with us today. Aloha to you, Keone. As you can see, we have a little bit of a different type of format today. Mom, good to see you as well. I'm using, because we're going to bring Eduardo on, I'm using StreamYard to handle some of that lifting, and that gives us a little bit more things like overlays and a little bit more features, as well as bringing guests. The only downside of it is that I only have the free version, so instead of broadcasting in 1080 like we normally do, we're only broadcasting in 720. But as you can see, the Paul Michel, I'm using the Cafe Deep 27 coffee brewer, and we're gonna get this. I wanted to get some coffee into the sphere so that we can talk and review what Eduardo's going to do. So we're basically just, of course, the competition's in 2 weeks, so kind of late to make any kind of major changes to the format that he's going to present. But basically, the Brewers Cup is an event where the competitors come together and they have 2 separate components of the competition. There's what's called the compulsory service and there's what's called the open service. The compulsory service is done kind of almost in seclusion, where the competitors are given a particular coffee, and then they brew the coffee and serve it to a panel of judges who evaluate that coffee, and that will be added to their score later. And then there's something called the open service, which is actually much more interesting and much more audience facing. So now, like you've seen with Barista Championships, in this case, they will come out. Oh, I'm really going slowly today, aren't I? They'll come out and give a presentation to their judges, to 3 judges plus a head judge, on brewing coffee, serving them, and telling them all about it. And so the score, we're going to go over the score sheets as well as the format, but that's essentially the general format. Now, the score sheets are all standardized, and like I tell a lot of competitors, everything is in the score sheet. Everything you need to focus on is in the score sheet, because really, all the competitions are about points. How many points can you get more than the second place competitor? Like we're at 345 and I'm only 277. We're going a little bit too slow. A little bit too much talking here. But it's all about the points and exploiting the score sheets and understanding them so that you can exploit them. And it's quite difficult. And one of the fallacies, for us to do this today is that we can talk about the different aspects of the competition and how things are judged. The only problem, or the difficult part, is that we will not be able to taste the coffees to actually know what the experience was like, right? And so that's always a perennial difficulty for competitors, is that they have to be able to describe accurately the experience that the judges are going to have with their coffees. So there is a component where they have to, give a proper presentation, present themselves professionally, but really the majority of the score is really all in the taste experience of the coffee. And if you're a barista who's trying to do well, then you really need to exploit those scores. And we're going to get into that. And in just a moment, okay, we're almost done. 5 minutes. We took a long time to brew that coffee. Who knows what it's going to taste like? But, we'll figure it out. Okay, so that's the basic competition. I've got some links in the description down below. If you want to see the different forms, I've got links to the actual rules and regulations. So there's one link that goes to the rules and regulations. Look for the one that says, if you want to see the rules, there's a separate one for the 2024, because they've updated the rules as well as the score sheets for this season. So it's a little bit different than it has been in the past. And they've broken it down. Every year they're trying to improve the competition, right? So they try to find better ways for evaluating what's being presented so that it's easier for the competitors to understand what's being evaluated. So you'll see that if we look at the new score sheets, we're going to see that there is a new race scaling system. Where is that score sheet here? So yeah, this is here we go. So these are the open service. We're really concerned with the open service today, right? Because that's the presentation part. But as you can see here, for the accuracy of coffee descriptors, there is a 0 to, I can't see anymore. I can't see. We need to, here we go. So for the accuracy of descriptors, there is a 0 to 3 score. And then we look at our evaluation scale here, we're going to see that, and here's something about that we teach the judges as well as hopefully the competitors. And when I used to do this and I would give competitors meeting, I would always try to emphasize this is how you should think about it. But we train the judges in this manner where we're looking for descriptors to guide us towards a score rather than thinking about, oh, this is a 3 or this is a 5 or whatever the number is. We want to think about how would we describe that experience. And if those of you who watch the Coffee and Cigars live stream, we utilize that kind of methodology for scoring those cigars. And in this particular case, we have a 0 to 3, or this particular category, we have a 0 to 3 rate scaling for the accuracy of coffee descriptors. As you can see here, 0 is, it's so small, I can barely see it. Oh, there is 0, none to evaluate. So basically in that case, in this whole segment that's called accuracy of coffee descriptors, we have categories of aroma. Let's see if I zoom in a little bit more, will that help? Okay, we have categories of aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, sweetness, and mouthfeel. Now these are then so these are all 0 to 3 ratings, and as you can see, they have a 2x by it, so they're multiplied by 2. So some of the scores will have multipliers to increase their value. And we have accuracy, so none to evaluate. So in accuracy of coffee descriptors, this is all about what the competitor is telling you, the judge, you're going to experience. They must tell you something in order for you to evaluate these categories for accuracy of coffee descriptors. If they do not, the only answer is 0, right? Because if I haven't told you what to expect, then you don't know what you're going to expect, and there's nothing to evaluate, right? So it's kind of one of those things where, let's say I tell you you're drinking this coffee and you're going to get peaches, plums, and chocolate, but all you get is chocolate. How good is that? Right, so that's kind of thing. Or if I don't tell you any of those things, what does it matter if you taste all 3? Right? Okay, so let's look at that. There's also now in each category an intensity scale, high, low. So was the intensity of the aroma high or low, or medium, or somewhere in between? Then there's the other category here. Let's see. So 0 is none to evaluate. 1 is not very accurate, 2 somewhat accurate, and 3 very accurate. So it's one of those things where, like, if I say peaches, plum, chocolate, and I get chocolate, how accurate is that? Somewhat accurate, very accurate. What's the last one? Oh yeah, very accurate. Not very, somewhat, and very. So those are the main 3 choices that you have, and you just kind of think of it that way. with regards to those categories, and then you score accordingly. Everything's falling. I should pour me some coffee and see what we have here. So if you have questions about what we're talking about, let me know. We're just going to go over the score sheets before we bring Eduardo on. Next is the coffee evaluation section. As you can see, so you can see here, there are these categories for accuracy of flavor descriptors. And actually, these are all kind of matching. So we've got aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, sweetness, mouthfeel. Now, coffee evaluation is the critical evaluation by the judges for each of those categories: aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, sweetness, and mouthfeel. And these also have a new scoring scale. We used to only use basically 0 to 6, but now we're using the 0 to 3 as well as 0 to 9. As you can see, there's 0 to 9. And then you can also see here under the code, you can see the breakdown of that. And so what do we have here? We have experience, coffee evaluation. There we go. 0 to 9, none to evaluate. I imagine that is if you don't serve a coffee, which can happen. 1 would be extremely low, 2 very low, 3 moderately low, 4 acceptable, 5 average, 6 good, 7 very good, 8 excellent, 9 extraordinary. And looking by this, it looks like, so we used to deal with the 0 to 6 scale, which is basically unacceptable, acceptable, average. But since they added these 3 between acceptable and none to evaluate, they wanted to give a little bit more scaling, because I guess a lot of judges would find that there would be, they would want to have something between acceptable and not acceptable. I don't know. I never really had to sit too much through a Brewers Cup evaluation, so that's probably the one I've done one of the least. All right, let's see here. So that's the general categories. Then we also have another one here. There is a barista evaluation at the bottom. That is attention to detail, 0 to 3 again. Coffee knowledge, 0 to 6. Now this, we go back to the old school scale, which is unacceptable, acceptable, average, good, very good, excellent, and outstanding, or extraordinary. And then presentation, same thing. So you've got all of this, and all of these can come together to give you a maximum score of 129 points. Now there are three judges, 3 sensory judges that are evaluating the coffees, and 1 head judge. And the head judge on this competition does do a little bit of scoring. Let me pull that head judge sheet here. So the head judge score sheet is this one. And as you can see, it's a little bit different, a little bit less. You can see the different categories of the coffee evaluation the head judge is doing, because the head judge will actually taste the coffees. So if I'm the judge, or if there's a judge and the main judge, one of the 3 is drinking their coffee, they're going to sit there, they're going to evaluate the coffee, and then they're going to write down their scores. Once they finish their tasting, the head judge will come behind them and take a sip of the cup. And that head judge is doing that because the head judge wants to see what kind of score that he can expect to receive from that judge for those cups, right? So we're going to use this in a head judge scenario just to make a little bit of notes as to what we think it might be, right? I would tend to maybe jot down a score that I think it would be. Now, one of the things about that is that you, as a head judge, you have to realize that you are tasting it after the judge. So there's time for the flavors to change. There's time for the temperature to cool. There's time for a lot of things that are happening. So it's not like you say arbitrarily this is, or you say definitively that this is a 3. And the judge is like, well, it's actually a 4. And you're like, well, no, it's a 3. You're scoring too high, right? It may very well be the case that it's better when the judge tastes it, because they tasted it fresh. They tasted it first. So as a head judge, you have to kind of balance that. And what you're not, as a head judge, at least for myself, what I would be looking for is not necessarily that the judge is in line with exactly what I think it or thought it was at that time that I drank it, but more that it's in line with that. So, for example, if I thought maybe like it's a 3, if the judge was like at 4, perhaps that's not a big deal. Perhaps that's not something to challenge. If it was at 5, then I'd want to know why. Or if it was at, let's say 1, then I want to know why as well, right? Or, some kind of scaling outside of that would be important for a good judge to know. But like I said, the head judge does have a couple categories under this to score. As you can see here, there is at the bottom, overall workflow 0 to 6 with a 2 times multiplier, and then technical uniformity. How technically uniform did they execute the 3 brews? This is something that they would used to have a technical judge for that would watch those things. They've eliminated that for the most part, which I think is a step in the wrong direction. By eliminating judges, in the Barista Championship, they used to have 2 technical judges. They got rid of one of them during the open rounds, and then during the finals, they got rid of both of them, which, devalues the technical judge's position. So who wants technical judges? People don't want to be technical judges to begin with. Most people that are judging want to be in the seat doing the sensory judges, more glory. There's more, there's more focus on you, right? There's more opportunity for you to be like, I tasted the coffee and I gave these scores. Technical judges have always been relegated to the sidelines. And, by eliminating them, you're killing the enthusiasm for the role. You're killing the role overall. And you're also narrowing the field of judges that are available, right? I think we want to have more judges to get more experience so that they can hopefully continue on and become technically better, and then move on to other roles and move up in the world. Well, these are the ideas that probably got me kicked out. So, all right. So now, what are we going to do? We're going to go to Lalo now, to Eduardo, and pull him on now. Eduardo, hope you're ready. Eduardo's waiting. He's the owner, and his family owns a place called Muri Muri Cafe in Coyoacan, which is the southern part of Mexico City. So he's going to come on to us and join us. So everybody, welcome Eduardo. Eduardo, how are you doing, friend? I got to put on my headphones so I can hear you. What's going on? How are you?
How are you? It's very early here in Mexico City.
I know. What time does your cafe open normally?
At 10.
Oh, okay. So we have some time for you too.
Don't worry.
Okay, good. All right. So what can we do? What can you tell us? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a nurse by profession, but I fell in love with coffee for like 4 years ago. And we were expecting the proposal was to have a little coffee shop, and the pandemic came along and we were struggling with that. So it's been since then. We opened on December before the pandemic. So that's it, and we changed the name of the coffee shop in October from last year. So it's going to be a year with Muri Muri. We were called Valle Flores Cafe before, but that wasn't sticking with the people. So we were like working in some ways to be a transition coffee shop from more commercial proposals to specialty coffee shops. So we're in between them, and I competed in the 2022 Mexican Brewers Cup. That was my first time competing, and then I waited a year to compete again. So that's why I'm here now.
Oh, excellent. So what is the what does Muri Muri mean?
Muri, it's a word that means in Japanese impossible, or when something is very difficult or you're neglected to do these things, you say Muri. But we didn't look for the word and then name the coffee shop. it came from some a we were between names and we didn't like them, so we
Okay.
just
Okay.
constructing the names, and it came to more abstract naming. And one of the words was I don't remember, murmur,
Okay.
but that's the name of a demon, I believe. I believe.
Oh,
We didn't want the
all right.
demon.
Excellent. Excellent.
So the next proposal was Muri. Well, and adding another letter to the name, and that was Muri. And we found out it was the meaning of impossible, and it's like this way of doing things for us. Uh, Not that everything is impossible, but in that philosophy, it's like you keep going forward to reach that that you believe it's impossible, but everything you can do it. So that's our philosophy right now.
Okay. Okay. I see. I see. So,
And the more you say it, it's more like impossible, I believe.
oh,
Or you keep trying the more you say it.
that's more impossible.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. So, tell us what you're planning for the competition.
Well, from the last competition that I went, I was obsessed with one brewing device. It was the metal B60. That is different from any other uh, metal B60s. This is from Ohio, uh, officially from Ohio, because there is a lot of um, iterations of this that only have one uh, mesh. This is a double mesh with micro perforations,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's very difficult to brew with this thing. Uh, and we learned a lot by working with this. A lot of information of brew theory, and well, it's this way, right? So you can see here that's very fine perforations. It has
Is
a
it
double.
double layer? Is that right, or is it
Yeah,
just
it
single layer?
doesn't
Okay.
feel, but if you like push on the layers, you can feel it bending between each
Ah,
other. So
okay.
a lot of people it's mad with this thing because in the long way it's clogging a lot because the coffee particles stick between the layers and you can get them out.
Yes.
So we haven't had that problem, but uh, you can't use it as a normal B60. You expect to do that. Uh, and I was working with this for the last competition, and then I let it go because it was difficult for us to use it in the coffee shop. I was the
Okay.
only one able to use it, and that was one experience that it's indirectly now in the routine in the competition. And then my brother bought these kind of filters from AliExpress because they
Oh,
cheap, and these are a non-woven filters for the B60.
are they still paper or there's some other type of material?
This is a cloth, like from
Oh,
plastic.
cloth. Okay. Does that
So
mean it's reusable or just
you
single
can
use?
reuse them if you wash them after you finish your brew,
Okay.
and they look like this. It's this is new one, a new one. So
Ah,
this
okay.
is an unused one. So it's a little tinted with coffee.
Okay.
You can reuse them. So that's this is being reused a lot of times,
Okay.
and we only use them for practice.
Okay.
But
Nice.
again, you can't use them as a normal B60 filter because they are like hydrophobic. They repel water. So at first, you don't need to wash them or rinse them. Sorry. And the other thing is that you can put water on them and they're going to retain the water until you like put some vibration to the brewing device or the filter, and the water is going to come down at the same time, like a switch, right?
Okay.
So I was only the only one using them here in in the coffee shop, and we found out that they are permeable to oils,
Mm,
to little fines, microfines that give body to the brew coffee.
okay.
So it helps to this mouthfeel, a great mouthfeel, great texture to the coffee. And I've been working with this for like a year and a half, and I'm going to use them in the competition. I know
All right.
it's
Excellent.
very difficult to use them, but once you domain the technique, you can work with them with ease. Uh, so it came from the first experience now using these filters, and we found out that there is a lot of uh, knowledge involved in this, because you need to have a good domain of your brewing technique to being able to work with this. So
Okay.
the proposition that we are bringing to the competition is that uh, with little changes to the normal receipts or the normal or the regular way of filtering coffee, you can achieve great results, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the first change that we are using is using a medium coarse grind. So if you uh, make a finer grind, you're going to have more risk of over extraction, and that's happening to a lot of people. I'm talking about people that are not experienced in the field, so
Okay.
clients, uh, people that are starting to in coffee, uh, starting baristas, everyone in this dimension. So that's one thing. You can't over extract the coffee if you have a coarser grind,
Okay.
and you mitigate more of the problems that people are having. So the next one is using this thing, the non-woven filter that
Hmm.
is already used in competitions in the World Brewers Cup. I've seen at least a one competitor using this. So I believe they're going to become a thing in the future also.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
So let's think about this. Like, as far as like getting ready for your competition. Um, so kind of you don't have to give the yeah, give us a little bit of the rundown on the coffees about the coffees that you're going to be using,
okay,
and yeah, and then let's see about brewing it, and then we
I'm
can talk about how it might do.
I'm using I'm between three or four coffees. We are
Okay.
looking for how they develop over time. We have
Oh, so you
roast.
haven't decided yet which exact coffee you're going to use.
Yes,
Okay,
we have
understood.
the. I don't know if that's how competition works,
That's
but
fine. I
that's
mean,
one
yeah.
of the beauties of this way of doing coffee. We are using the same recipe for four coffees,
Okay. Well,
and
let's do this then. Let's okay. So just you're gonna have in the competition. You're going to use one coffee or two coffees.
I one.
Okay, so let's just choose one coffee that you have available to you that you're thinking about using, and
This
let's
is
talk about that.
this is a coffee from Guerrero, here in Mexico, in the Atoyac de Alvarez region. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm not familiar with Atoyac de Alvarez, but a little bit
Well, this
of
is a
Guerrero. I've been to
natural.
Guerrero, so
Okay, so I don't know why people are like hunters for Guerrero coffees. So they're very good too. This is a natural process coffee. It's a little with a longer fermentation, and it has a lot of yellow fruits in it. It has stone fruits, chocolate notes. So it's a very pleasant coffee. It's a little funkier. So I think that that's in trend right now.
Okay.
And in the past, I used the simple traditional wash coffee, and it was very pleasant, but it wasn't, you know,
Okay,
my.
but so is that what else would you say about your how else would you describe the coffee this Guerrero from Atoyac de Alvarez?
So the aroma, it's very intense. It has a intense flavor with chocolate notes and dry fruit. The flavor is medium high intensity with tropical fruits or yellow fruits like I don't know how it says in English.
In
Uh,
Spanish is fine.
Passion fruit, I believe it's
Ah,
uh,
maracuja. Yeah. Okay.
yes, and yes, maracuya and chocolate.
Okay.
And it evolves in acidity to turn into stone fruits like peach. The aftertaste is not that long; it's a short uh, aftertaste with chocolate notes and dried fruits. The acidity, as it is a um, natural, it doesn't have a lot of acidity. It's like medium to low acidity. Also with these notes like peach, maybe a little bit of grapes, winey because of the fermentation process, and the sweetness. It's very sweet. I would say it's a high or medium high intensity in sweetness. Also with these notes of passion fruit, peach, uh, milk chocolate, and the mouthfeel. Uh, in this new evaluation skills, they took out the body, the description of the body.
Hmm.
Now you need to describe the texture of the mouthfeel as uh, it's smooth, silky, and this coffee has this description. It's very smooth. Uh, and also, thanks for in copying, right? We will talk about the description
Hmm.
in copying and some of the description in the green method. Uh, it's smooth, silky texture, so it's very pleasant. This coffee, and I choose this coffee because a lot of people is familiar with it. I've been working with this coffee for a long time, not a long time, maybe 6 months. Um, and that's some of the description from this coffee.
Okay. Okay. So let's how about let's brew it and evaluate it.
So
Show us how you're gonna brew this one.
I'm going to use this Matzer grinder that it's almost new. I'm going to use 18 grams of this coffee in a medium coarse grind uh, in clicks. This is a little strange because it has a scale on it,
Okay.
but you need to turn it twice to go to the full scale. So describing the scale is very like weird. It's not like a common thing to that. You say 20, 30, 50 clicks.
Okay.
So I'm closing it right now. And then it's like in a regular grinder, you will use fast. to the leading to the course, right? Like 2 or 3 points. So I'm going to grind it right now.
And you're planning to do this also on stage, is that correct?
The grinding, no.
Yes. No, okay.
No, you can't. You can't unless you use the competition grinder.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
So you need to do it backstage. I believe it has to do with sponsorships and everything. So
Yes, that typically is the case. That is typically. So you will use this grinder backstage and then come out with it already ground. Okay.
yes, we use a little vessels with the ground coffee. They are amber,
Okay.
so doesn't mess up with the coffee, and they're like, tight close. Also, there is no retention of the fragrance when you take the lid off, but
Okay.
somehow it works to keep the fresh the coffee the more fresh.
Okay. Well, one thing, Eduardo, when you're actually once you've actually settled on the coffee you're going to use, and you're preparing and practicing, try to keep that grind time in mind, because like you're going to grind backstage and then there may be upwards of 15 to 20 minutes, perhaps even half an hour before you actually perform. So that coffee is going to be sitting there. So make sure that you, as you practice, that you are simulating that time too, so you get a more accurate
Yes,
representation. Just to keep that in mind.
I've
That's
seen
what I
that
would do.
competitors said that I ground this coffee half an hour ago, 1 hour ago backstage, and that wasn't in the print that I sent you. But I'm
Mhm.
planning to add that once we know which coffee we are using, and the finished practices or the last practice that we do
Okay. Well,
are
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know if that's necessarily a detail you need to tell the judges, but I think it's a detail that as you're formulating your flavor descriptors that you're going to tell the judges, I think that if you're going to grind it backstage and then bring it out, it could be up to half an hour. So as you're figuring out your flavor notes, make sure that you grind, wait half an hour, and then tastes, so that you'll have a much more accurate representation of how the coffee may be when you actually
yes,
compete.
yes. Thank you. That's a good point. It's not the same as I'm.
Because honestly, as a judge, I don't care about that. Like when you ground it is not so. At least for myself, I'll be like, okay, well, it's your choice. It's your choice to ground it beforehand, right?
Yes, I was planning to do it on stage, but there are a lot of things happening.
Yeah,
So,
I understand. I understand.
so I'm going to use this non-woven filter.
Perfect.
Uh,
And that's a V60.
yes, it's a V60.
Is this the device you're going to use during the competition?
I'm going to use a plastic V60.
Okay.
So I'm also distributing the coffee and flattening the bed. I already have water here. I wish I had a off camera so you can see the blooming, because this filter retains uh, the water, so it
Okay.
helps retain the pre-infusion,
Okay.
and that we found out helps to the body to avoid channeling. So
For those of you who are viewing, actually, what happens during the competition is that the judges themselves, the three sensory judges, are sitting in front of the competitors. So while Eduardo's saying that if he had a camera, we could see if I was a judge, I could, if I wanted to, lean over and kind of see the bloom. So that is something that you could look at. There's nothing really that on the score sheet that calls for the evaluation of that. So it's more of a curiosity for judges, and it may go towards their attention to detail section, maybe one of those categories, but it's not really specified.
So I'm going to begin with the bloom.
Okay.
I'm going to use 20 grams of water. So it's a small blooming for maximization of the hydration of the coffee and avoid channeling. This is going to last for 45 minutes. 40 minutes, seconds, sorry. You can see it already filtering, and I'm using this Paragon system from Nucleus Coffee Tools that uses extract chilling to retain more of the volatile compounds that in other way will be ambient, not on cup. And sorry, the pouring technique is very important here. I'm not using a lot of turbulence. I'm using a way of pouring water that it's called uh, osmotic flow. That helps to reduce turbulence, and the extract portion of the coffee is going to uh, be, I don't know in English.
Está bien.
It will be like from osmosis is going to bring the extracted portion of the coffee to a column of water that we are doing at the center of the B60. So that is going to help not to over extract the coffee. So it's a very slow it's a very slow extraction. So this will last like 30 seconds, and then my last pour is with the same technique, with the 40%, with the last 40% of the brewing water, that it's like 120 grams. And we will finish almost at 3 minutes, 3:30.
So did you say you're only pouring 140 grams of water? Is that right?
I sorry, I my second pour is I 160
The 160. Okay.
to reach 180, and then my last pour is
120.
120 to reach 300 grams. So it's a 1:16 ratio. And I was only using the Paragon system in the first part of the extraction. I went a little further right now, but there's not that much of a problem.
Okay.
I'm going to preheat the cup. And let it finish dripping. You can see there is a very fast and consistent way of brewing coffee. It's not like I need to do a 3 swirls and then stop in the middle for 3 seconds. It's not like that. It should be easy and effective. That's our way of thinking.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to brew coffee, 3 cups at the same time. That's very difficult because I'm for the timing, I'm going to be using this permutation between the kettles. At one time, I'm going to be using two, and this. So they finished brewing almost like 30 seconds from the last one.
Okay.
So every judge has the same experience. Sorry, not one it's colder and the other it's very hot. So I'm trying to avoid that issue for them to taste the same.
Okay.
And the head judge, I don't remember if they are evaluating the uniformity between cups or just the technical uniformity on the brewing technique. But also that you're going to taste different things if you taste one colder than the other one. So that's why I'm going to use that technique also. Uh, so this is our brew coffee.
All right.
It has a
All right. So yeah, let's look at that. So tell us about the aroma that what do you smell when you actually smell it? Forget what you told us before. Now let's change hats and tell us when you smell it, what's the aroma?
it's it's medium high intensity. It has chocolate in it, more like a cherry. And milk chocolate. Um,
Okay, so now let's okay then okay, let's go over that for a moment.
okay.
In your when you were talking to us before about the aroma, the only thing you told us was that it was intense. There would be a good intensity of the aroma, right? So that's kind of what we're, as a judge, this is what we'll be expecting. And why we're going to go through each of the categories, and I think this is how perhaps as you start to approach choosing your coffee, start thinking about it this way. Think about what your descriptions are, and then we're going to compare, and you score it based on your experience so that you have a better understanding of how it will be done. Okay, so now you said here that it would be intense, and that's pretty much all that you said for the aroma, from what I recall, right? So, but what you perceived is medium high, which is kind of I'd say that's close to intense. You said there was cherry, and this is my problem, is that I have a milk chocolate.
Yes.
So
And cherry.
and cherry. What based on that, if we think about the accuracy of flavor descriptors, we have a category of 1 to 3, so 0 being, oh God, I can never read anymore. So none to evaluate. So definitely that would not be the case, because you did give something. You did say there was going to be intense. And so there's something there. So would you say that it would be not very accurate, somewhat accurate, or very accurate for your accuracy of aroma descriptors?
As in the descriptors will be not very accurate.
Not
Because I
very
only
accurate.
I
Okay, good. That's fair. That's fair. And then now when it comes to the coffee evaluation section, right? This is not necessarily dependent upon what the competitor has told you. This is dependent upon what you experience now. So you said it was medium high acidity, medium high intensity, and then you said there was milk chocolate notes and cherry notes. And now we're talking about a 0 to 9 scale, 0 to 9 scale here, which would give us none to evaluate. So these other ones here that are extremely low, very low, I wouldn't say that would apply here, but let's say acceptable, average, good, very good, excellent, extraordinary, how would you rate your aroma?
Well, it's there is a problem here. It's my coffee, like so. But from a general point of view of what people are liking right now,
Well, forget. Here's the thing: forget what generally people like. It's a question of what people like is kind of irrelevant. The real question that the judge has to answer is what was presented to them. Right? When you give the cup, the glass to your judge, this is all the judge cares about. What's in here and the experience this is giving us. All the other stuff, what people in the world like, who cares about that? This is the whole deal. So the question is, you said that your taste or your aroma, your sense of aroma said the intensity was medium high, it was cherry notes and milk chocolate notes.
for me it's good.
How would you describe the quality of those?
I think it's a 6 for good.
Good. Okay. So good is, I wish I had to put my glasses on now because it's so small. So good is 6. Yeah, so 6. So we're going to put the 6 in there. Okay, so you say good. All right. Now, same thing again. We're going to go next now to the flavor, accuracy of flavor descriptors.
Yes.
For the flavors here. And you talked about it having chocolate, dry fruit, medium high, that there's yellow fruits, there's like passion fruit. When you taste this, I totally went the other way. Let's go next to the aftertaste. Aftertaste. Describe the aftertaste for me that you're experiencing now. So taste it, and then how's the aftertaste?
It's long. It's a long aftertaste.
Anything else?
It feels smooth. It has chocolate notes. Has cacao also.
Okay.
And I think that's it for now.
Okay, so now let's go look at the aftertaste. Now, you said that for the aftertaste, when you gave your descriptors to me earlier, you said the aftertaste would be short with chocolate and dry fruit. What you tasted now was long, smooth, and chocolate, cacao. So here you're getting long, so that would say that's high on the aftertaste, right? Now, when you say, think about these descriptors, long, smooth chocolate versus short chocolate and dry fruit, how would you say? Would you say not very accurate, somewhat accurate, very accurate?
Somewhat, I believe.
Somewhat, okay.
It's in the
Okay, now let's look at the aftertaste. So now the aftertaste we actually got was long, smooth cacao. So think about long, smooth cacao is what you're experiencing as the taster, as the judge now. Acceptable, average, good, very good, excellent.
I think in this
Like
case,
think about your experience with it as a taster now.
I like it's very good.
You think it's very good? Okay. All right, we'll say that. So very good would be 7.
Yes.
All right, so 7 there. Now let's taste the coffee again and tell me about the flavor that you're receiving.
It's medium high. With grapes and yellow fruit in it. I think that's it for now too. Almost.
So if that's the flavor, you got medium high flavor, intensity of flavor, grapes and yellow fruit. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, great. So now let's look at what you told us for accuracy of coffee descriptors, right? So you said there'd be chocolate, which we did not get. You said there would be dry fruit, which maybe you could say is a yellow fruit or grape, maybe. You did say medium high intensity, so that's what we did get. So how would you describe, what would you give for the accuracy of flavor to coffee descriptors? Not very accurate, somewhat accurate, very accurate.
Somewhat, let's say 2. Right.
2. All right. And then now you said that when we came out, you said these medium high intensity. You also said yellow fruit, passion fruit, chocolate notes. But so far we did get the medium high intensity. We got some. You said there's some yellow fruits, but nothing about grape and no chocolate.
Okay.
So how would you say that description would be for flavor? How would the flavor experience be? Would that be acceptable, average, good, very good?
I'll say good.
Good. Okay. Now let's go to acidity. So let's taste it again and tell us about the acidity that you're experiencing in the coffee.
The acidity, medium to low,
Medium.
or medium low acidity. Has a like little bit of peach in it. Oh, and grapes. That's
That's it?
that's it.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's say that we're going to look here. So when it came to your accuracy of descriptors, you told us peach, stone fruit, and medium low intensity. That's what we're expecting. So now you did say that you got medium low intensity. You did get peach, but you also had grape. How would you rate the accuracy of coffee descriptors? Not very accurate, somewhat, or very?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Okay, next we'll say that we're looking here for the acidity experience that you had by tasting it, medium low, peach, grapes. But so how would you say the qualitatively that experience was?
Qualitative experience.
So these are all of these are qualitative evaluations, right? Like what is the quality of the acidity that you experienced? Based on what's been told to you as well.
I think it's like an average, like it's 5.
Average, okay. Okay, great. Now, let's talk about the sweetness.
Okay.
Tell us about the sweetness of the coffee.
Is medium to high.
Okay.
Now it's colder, so there is peach in it. Also, this passion fruit still in it. It's very pleasant. So it's good.
All right, pleasant. That's good to see. That's good to hear. Okay, so now let's look here. So for sweetness, we have very sweet. You said it was going to be. You said we should expect it to be very sweet. We should expect medium high. We should have notes of passion and peach and milk chocolate. So so you did say that it was very medium high. So you said very sweet, medium high, and peach, passion. You didn't really say anything about sweetness, but how would you say that the accuracy of coffee descriptors? Not very, somewhat, very accurate.
I'll say somewhat.
Somewhat. Okay, great. And again, we're with our regular sweetness here. We're talking medium high. But you said passion peach, milk chocolate, passion peach, and okay. How would you rate that? Would you say it was average, good, very good, excellent, extraordinary?
I'll say a 6, a good sweetness.
Good for sweetness. Okay, mouthfeel now. Let's talk about the mouthfeel. What did you what was your experience for mouthfeel?
From
Like
mouthfeel,
that finish, that kind of like, yeah, the way that it coats the
the
mouth.
chocolate's little medium texture. It's smooth also. Um, like silky.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
All right, very good. Let's now look at what you told us. So we've got a mouthfeel here. You did say smooth, silky, and pleasant, and you did find smooth and silky. So how would you say that this should be?
Uh,
It's not very, somewhat or very.
very accurate. I think.
You think very?
Yes. It was like between 2 or 3, but I went.
You say very?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And then now let's look at the mouthfeel score-wise. How would you describe your evaluation? How would you evaluate that category, mouthfeel? Again, are we talking average, acceptable, good, very good, excellent?
I will describe it as a good. Too.
Good, okay. Okay, so now that's pretty much all of the scores that that you've given us. Now, the disadvantage here is that I don't have the opportunity to taste your coffee. So how, like I said in the earlier at the beginning, is that when the competition actually happens, the judge is sitting there tasting your coffee, evaluating it, and giving you a score. And after the judge tastes the coffee, the head judge will taste the coffee, and the head judge is tasting the coffee for a reference point, so that that person can better understand the position of the judge. And so, like, for example, let's say your last category here of mouthfeel, right? Mouthfeel. You said smooth, silky, pleasant, and we got medium texture, smooth, silky. Now, smooth and silky do match. However, I would challenge you. If you were the judge, I would challenge you on the 3. Is it very or just somewhat? Because like these are 2 descriptors that you got, but the competitor did give 3.
Yes.
Right. So I would look. If the competitor hit all 3 or whatever, all of the different notes that they gave, then I'd be more inclined to be. That I would agree that it would be like a 3 or very accurate. And that's true for a lot of these. Like the higher on the scale, like how qualitatively good are these? And I understand that, when you're a competitor and it's your coffee, you kind of you want the best results. Like I get that. I totally understand that. And so it's difficult to be in this position where you're trying to objectively evaluate your coffee. But this is something that this is the kind of exercise I think that you should work on as you prepare, because this will help you understand really what's being delivered. And it's not a question of like you telling me that, let's say for flavor, that you said chocolate, dry fruit, medium high with yellow, passion, and chocolate. It's not a question of in this evaluation that you get 9s in these categories. That's not the issue. The thing is that if you can taste the coffee and critically evaluate it so that you can identify all the components within each category, that gives you the advantage of being able to craft a description that will help you to get better points from the judges.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, a lot.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Let me just. Tom is asking, Eduardo, what is your favorite aspect of the coffee you're brewing?
The sweetness. That's a thing that a lot of times has a surprise us with having a lot of sweetness in this coffee. And now that it's taken into account into evaluation, it's also a great point for this coffee. And also, if I'm allowed to say it, this kind of brewing technique gives a lot of sweetness to the coffees, as you're not stirring a lot of the coffee and doing a lot of turbulence. You extract sweetness and acidity from the coffee, and it's going to be that portion of extracted coffee is going to be to the server, unless you're trying to do a lot of turbulence or a finer ground. You're going to keep extracting coffee from that acidity and from that sweetness, and you're going uh, to find out at the end that you can't evaluate a high sweetness in a coffee if you are for going from that point of the view, which is a very fine point between sweetness and acidity. And from acidity, you're more allowed to keep extracting and to balance your cup. But if you cross that line, you're going to start having a unpleasant notes.
Okay. All right. So let's just recap. I hope that answered. Sorry, I was a little bit monitoring the score. So we just wanted to break down the score just a little bit. Now, I made some presumptions with the scoring here, right? Like, we didn't bother with the barista evaluation as far as attention to detail, coffee knowledge, and presentation, because you didn't really show us a presentation per se. So I just gave full points for that, and that category is worth 30 points. And so your total point score for each of the two categories, right? So we've got accuracy of flavor of coffee descriptors and then coffee evaluation. And in those, you got 15 out of 36, and then 30 out of, what was that, right? Yeah, 15 out of 36 possible points, and then 51 out of 63. Is that right? Oh, no, yeah. The total one, 36 points across. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's wrong.
Coffee evaluation is just.
You didn't give the let's say your overall score was going to be 5. So 41 plus 15, 56. So 86. And then we're just going to presume 86 across the board. 86 times 3, 258. 258. Add 24 for the head judge score, 282. Divide that by 411. 411 is the total amount of points that any competitor can make. So right now you're at 68.6% of the total potential scores, which is not bad. I mean, the reality is that a lot of competitors in competition, people always think that the champions are getting like 5s and 6s, the top scores, when really they're getting, average, good to very good scores. So this is not a bad place to be. It's just a matter of building on that.
Yes.
And, I think if you try to use this methodology as you evaluate your coffees and prepare your actual notes for presentation, I think that will help improve the performance. Because a lot of it has to do with setting the judges' expectations and telling them exactly what they're going to experience, and that they do experience that, right? Does that make sense?
Yes. We have been building on that since my last presentation. That wasn't taking into account the evaluation sheet, this or the score. So, so because that last time we were like 45 seconds, we were trying to do all of this, and it
Oh,
wasn't
right.
for us. So right now we are trying to make the presentation more focused on the brewing method and on the coffee. So
Okay, good. Yeah,
because
I mean, but remember that while those are good things to do, the brewing method, the coffee, this is still what matters, right? What is the experience? Because look at this. Remember that all of the whole thing about like the attention to detail, the coffee knowledge, is only worth 12 points out of 411. Well, 12 points out of, on this particular score sheet, is 129 points. So 10% of the score is your coffee knowledge, right? It's important. It's not to be neglected, but really the whole game is played here in what you tell the judges and how accurately you tell them what they're going to experience, and then their actual experience. So really focus on trying to make the best coffee that you can under the stressful environment that it is, and then understanding that coffee enough so that you can tell the judges, this is what you're going to experience. You're going to taste this, 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 and this. And hopefully you've delivered a coffee where they do taste this, 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 and this. And then they can start giving you like 8s and 9s, or hopefully 7s.
so yes, thank you. That's on the orientation meeting.
Okay.
They does something like that also. Like, I don't know if you know Hector.
Oh,
It's
Garcia.
yes.
Of course. He's a very good friend of mine. Very good.
Uh, he gave us the orientation meeting from the experience of the World Brewers Cup. That's I'm going to see these kind of things and focus on these parts of the evaluation. That was on Monday, so that's also more or less what he told us too, because he had this experience for the World Brewers Cup,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to see this also here in the nationals.
Okay, yeah. But really, like Hector knows, because Hector's like me. He's been around the world doing. We do pretty much the same thing. When I was in the WCE, and it really is. We try to, and I get what you're saying, because a lot of baristas, when they enter the competition, they're very excited. They're very excited about the type of brewing that they're using or the coffee that they're using, and they forget that it's all about scores. It's all about having the most amount of points in order to win. And a lot of times, come to the baristas will be, well, how come I didn't get a higher score? I have great coffee, but because you didn't deliver in what you told us, right? And that's the thing. So it's like, if I say to you that I'm going to make like tacos, and you're expecting corn tortillas, and I give you flour tortillas, you're going to be disappointed, right?
I look
Doesn't mean
forward.
that it's necessarily bad, but you told me corn, but you gave me flour.
Yes, that's
So kind of something like that, right? So you want to be very accurate as possible as you can when giving descriptions on how their experience is going to unfold. And if you can match the experience to what you've told them, you can do very, very well.
okay. Yes, that's very good insight to this.
Okay, okay. Any
Starting,
questions you have about the competition?
uh, I had a lot before this. Now it's clearer because
Okay,
I heard that there's a podcast too. I don't know if you have heard it. That they review, a, academic papers.
okay.
And there was a Brewers Cup judge, and she said that we are not expecting to have a cup of excellence coffees. This is not a no. It's a coffee rating uh, competition, but it's also the human factor, right? And you need
Yes.
to present the coffee in a way that we can evaluate the coffee and the experience. So it should not be a 90 plus coffee. So it matters most how you describe it. So
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the I think the belief is that people think that if I have a 90 plus coffee, they'll automatically win. But like you said, it is all about what you tell us. Now, a 90 plus coffee may give you unique flavor notes that are more readily identifiable. But if you don't identify those flavors, it doesn't matter if they're there or not because, again, you won't get the scores that you could have gotten because you didn't accurately tell us what we're going to experience. And really, that's about like the white paper said. Is like that is the most important part. You can use any coffee as long as you're able to describe the experience accurately.
yes,
And also, I should add that it should be in a specialty sense. So, for example, if you go out and buy C market contract coffee with a negative differential, and you're bringing notes of tar and diesel, and even though you can accurately describe that you're going to taste tar and diesel, that would not go to your benefit.
yeah,
Just in case some viewers are out there thinking about that, like don't do that. Don't do that.
no. It's also that's on the coffee evaluation, right?
Yes,
That
yes.
the perception of the judge on the coffee and matching it with the barista evaluation. That, as I understand, the accuracy of the coffee descriptors and the barista evaluation comes like together, right?
Right, right, exactly, exactly.
So, and the coffee evaluation is separate from that. So you can bring a bad coffee and then, but you're going to succeed in the half of the sheet, and then the other evaluation is not going to work.
That's right. That's right. We don't want that. We don't want that. All right. Anything else we can talk about for you?
I think I'm well informed right now. Also, thank you for the space and the time.
Oh
As I
yeah, I'm
told
glad you
you
came on.
yesterday, I think these efforts that you're taking and a lot of people is also doing help the industry if you know how to interpret and to take the information, and these daily updates and daily takes on coffee help a lot.
Oh well, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope
what
so.
i what I'm trying was proposing also came in here is that uh, we can there's not a lot of conversation on competition. It's very closed information. I don't and you don't see competitors talking on their routines before it happens. So,
Right.
and I think it's better to see more of that. Like, I don't know. It's good to inspire people to compete or to take a decision to do it or not to do it. So that's I don't know if this kind of conversation happens a lot of online
Okay.
or a competition, but I want to see it more.
Oh yes, I agree, and kudos to you for willing to come on and talk before the competition. I mean, yeah, my belief is that there's no. I've always spoken openly about the competition because it's like there's a point where even if somebody's watching and wants to make some changes, it's kind of late. They have to be at a certain skill level in order to execute. So that's why with my world, it's always been about trying to share information, because it's not a question I'm worried about people that want to steal the information and beat us. It's more about if people are willing to pursue at a high level, then I would like to know them.
Yes, and
So,
it helps also to move the industry. We have
agreed.
this philosophy here. It's the information is not for us. The more people knows about coffee and quality and everything, it, it helps us in the, you know, it's not a direct relationship, and maybe we are not winning sharing the information, but another coffee shop, another owner, another producer is winning by by us giving away information.
Agreed. Agreed.
So that it's for a greater good, I believe.
Yes, yes, it is. I agree with that 100%. All right, we should get off because I know everybody wants to go back to their day. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here, Eduardo. Hopefully this will help you a little
Yes, yes,
bit.
a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you for your audience. Thank you for taking me in, and we will keep in touch.
Yes, let me know if I can help in any way before the competition as well. So,
Yes, yes, thank you.
all right. So this is Eduardo Valle from Muri Muri Cafe in Coyoacan, which is a neighborhood south in Mexico City, and he'll be competing in the Mexican Brewers Cup Championship, which is it's called the what's it called in it's got a different kind of name there, right?
Le llaman, it's
The Mexican
now I'm thinking in English.
the
So
Brewers Bar. It's called Brewers Bar.
brewer.
But I mean, Anyway, we're not gonna.
It's
My
brewer.
Spanish is terrible. My Spanish is terrible.
I think there was a part of the competitions before the pandemic that
Mhm.
the competitors went into a brew bar to share their coffee with the
Okay.
audience. I don't know. I never been in that, so
Oh, well, it should be.
I
I mean,
don't
they
know
always have a nice event.
if they took the name from that part of the competition. So
Oh,
it's
I see. I see. That
competencia,
could be.
it's
That could be.
Competencia Nacional de Brew Bar.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. All right, excellent. So that's going to be happening at Mexico's big coffee convention called Expo Cafe, which is at Mexico City's World Trade Center. It's what, September 5th and 6th? Is that right?
Uh, five,
5th, 6th, 7. 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7. Yes,
5, 6, 7.
I'm on the 5 in the afternoon.
All right, there it is. So 5th on the afternoon, if you get the chance to go.
Yeah.
Do you know if they're going to have it live online, or is it just
Yes, they live stream the competition.
Oh, well then send me a link when you finally get it. We'll be able to watch.
Yes,
And we'll share it with everybody here so they can see how you do.
yes. I hope it goes well.
Excellent, excellent. All right, then. Thank you, Eduardo. Everybody, thank you very much. We'll be back again tomorrow with another coffee Q&A with some other topic. I don't know yet, but until then, hope you have a wonderful one. Thank you, Eduardo. See you guys all next time.
Thank you, everyone. See you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Ooh.